Well, welcome back, everyone. Thank you, Aaron and Steve, for that wonderful update on the historian. And for our next presentation, we're very grateful this time. All the time, we're very grateful for Tyler, but this time I'm saying it um, for one of our valued customers again to really share their experience with Data Park. So please help me welcome Tyler Fadoon, applications manager at Energy Transfer. And so he's going to help us and tell us a little bit about how Energy Transfer is, deploying our technologies to really empower their operations. So Tyler, welcome this morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tyler Fadoon. I'm going to be giving you guys a quick talk about how I went to lunch with Alex at Capstone, and it resulted in a 2-year effort where we achieved complete digital transformation in our organization. If you guys do have any questions, please put them in the chat box, and I will answer them at the end. So quick level set, everybody. Who is Energy Transfer and who am I? Well, we are one of America's largest energy movers in the country. If you've ever turned on a light switch, it was probably, we had something to do with that. We were founded in 1996. We currently own and operate over 90,000 miles of pipeline across the continental United States. We have over 470 odd large facilities in the organization. We do have many more smaller facilities, but we do have a lot of big footprints out there. And we've got about 10,000 employees who keep the energy moving through the United States. And who am I? Well, again, I'm Tyler Fadoon. I've been with Energy Transfer since 2011. Previously, I had quite a long stay at ExxonMobil. I do have about 20 years of oil and gas experience. I do see myself as an oil and gas person first and an IT guy second. At Energy Transfer, I do oversee 3 departments at Energy Transfer, our custom development group, our machine learning group, as well as our operational data analytics group. And if you do want to connect with me, I am on LinkedIn. Please feel free to go look at my outdated profile there. I'm sure it hasn't been updated in quite some time. So what did we do as an organization? Well, starting in 2019, Energy Transfer, we did enter into a 2-year project with Capstone to deploy the Data Park system across our entire enterprise. And our main goal was here to transform the way that we operate and enable our people in a way that we've never done before. And over the past 14 months, we've done quite a big things in the organization. The first thing that we did was we established a big corporate historian. You know, for us, that was sort of our Mount Everest, right? We wanted that tip of the tower where we could look and see and touch everything that we do as a company. We deployed over 50 high-resolution solutions at many of our key facilities. These are hybrid deployments. Sometimes if it's a very major cornerstone facility, of course, we'll do a physical install of Data Park out there to ensure that we get all the data that we need. Smaller facilities will do a full remote option, full virtual option, which is awesome to be able to do. So it gives us a lot of flexibility in what we are doing. We've enabled minimum visibility across our entire operation. That's 90,000 miles of pipeline that we can see virtually at a bare minimum, right? Whether it just be pressures or temperatures. And of course, in a lot of our facilities, we have the same low resolution view right now. And as we expand, we get higher and higher resolution. We do consume nearly a dozen external data sources that help us enrich our data. It's weather data, it's power data, it's pricing data, stuff that lets us enrich what we already have and get more value out of what it is that we have. And what that all really boiled down to, well, if you're a Capstone Data Park user, you probably know about points and tags. And currently we have we have over 4 million points in our system polling in real time and near real time. Of course, some of these things poll a little less frequently because they're a little less important. But that's a lot of data in one system that all of our users have access to. We've generated over 4,300 custom displays in this system. And that's not us generating them, that's actually users. We've done a lot in education to make sure we empower our users. And we've enabled over 700 personnel that use the system daily to make better decisions. And it's all been with zero downtime. It's been phenomenal, right? We've got this huge system of millions of points of data, collecting terabytes of data, and nothing's gone down. In 14 months of this operation, it's been fantastic. Of course, we have lost communication signals to outreacher facilities, but when they come back online, of course, that data buffer just happens and we just pull it right back in, and our users are just ecstatic about that. So how we did it? Well, we started by proving the concept, right? We know we couldn't just sell this thing as a crazy pie in the sky idea. So we started with one facility, one of our crown jewel facilities, and we proved it, right? It wasn't just art of the possible. It was a reality. We were showing what we were doing, how we were going to do it, what we were going to get value out of it. And that let us proceed with us going on this enterprise level project. We developed a vision very, very early on in the project, right? And it was very simple. It was a single pane of glass into all of Energy Transfer's operation, full stop. That's what we wanted to do. We had a goal, we knew what we wanted, and we knew a vision, and we were going to head towards it. We dispense with buzzwords. I know, in the IT world, we see these things everywhere. You can't look at a billboard, a white sheet without buzzwords. I'm a firm believer in killing these buzzwords as fast as I can, and letting people know, look, there was not going to be a silver bullet here. It wasn't going to be an easy solution. This is a complex project. It's going to have a complex solution. And there was real work that had to be done. We didn't go in there and pitch in this to our executive management saying, whiz bang, voila, we were going to get this system. They knew that they had to invest and that they knew that they had to commit time and their people's time to do this. And speaking of the people's time, we really had to involve local leadership early. For what we did, we knew we were going to spend some money to get this done. So we did host a local energy transfer conference here in Houston. We flew in all of our major players in the organization from all the different states where we operate, which I think is currently 38 operational states, and brought these people in and let them know what we were doing and showing them how we were going to do it. So that way they understood the same vision that we did, and they understood why we were doing this, right? This wasn't just going to be another IT project that was coming down that they didn't want, right? When they saw the value in what we were going to be proposing and doing, that was huge. And speaking of value, we wanted to identify 100 key facilities that we wanted to launch in our first 2 years. And we actually came out of that room with over 400 facilities that we wanted to enable. We needed a number, right? So we had to have this. So we came up with this number, which was $27,000 in 3 years of return on investment at a facility. It's a very easy number. It's a very concrete number. And we got that number by looking at what it was to do our first facility. We know that number is going to go down with the scaling of the system, but it gave our users and our local leaders an ability to say, you know what, I could do that. Let's put me on the list too. It was able to get buy-in. It was able to get value out of the system really early on. Even though we weren't doing anything, we could start quantifying what it was that we were doing. We had to establish a team. And I'm not just saying we had to carve out some people to do this. We did develop a new team in the organization. It's the Operational Data Analytics Group. It's underneath me. It's a mix of business and IT people who are working together to solve this, right? We know that you're going to need the IT people from the zeros and ones perspective, and you're going to need your business people to be able to talk the lingo and translate some of this cool tech that we're doing with how it applies to the people that actually do it. And strong project management was key. This isn't going to be easy, and this was something we did struggle with, because finding that project manager that's not a paper pusher, not an accountant, and not just got mud on his boots, right? Somebody that's going to have all three of those things. And lucky enough, we did get a rocket scientist, a literal rocket scientist, one of the guys that helped design the International Space Station, to come aboard. NASA has a lot of experience in this world of getting those rockets to go up into the stars and come right back down. There's a lot of data that comes into play with that, and bringing somebody like that was key for us to be successful and helping understand a lot of this stuff. And to get this done, we know we needed to establish a partnership. And I'm not talking about just going to buy something off a vendor shelf and then installing it and go next finish, right? We need to establish a great partnership with a vendor that was going to be successful if we were successful. It wasn't something that we were just going to be able to figure out on our own. So we needed somebody with experience. And we did that with Capstone. So we did establish a partnership with Capstone. It wasn't just a buy the product and walk away and hope it installs work and follow the instruction manual. We knew at this scale, especially, finding software that would grow with us was going to be key. We know we're going to have nuances in our environments, right? We know that not every one-size-fits-all T-shirt is going to fit everybody, and it's going to look good on everybody. We know that was going to be the case. So we needed a vendor that was, and a tool and a company that was going to be able to grow with us. it really was beyond technology, right? A lot of this technology does exist. It has existed in many different industries already. So, having a company that has the same drive as we did and the same passion that we did for what we were trying to embark upon was key for us, right? Not just a company that was going to give us a sales executive and then swap that sales executive out every 6 months. For us, that was not going to be appropriate for what we were trying to do. This is a long-term endeavor for us. It's going to be built around long-term success. And if we have, moving pieces all the time, it's going to be a wrought with failure. So finding that great fit was something that we really struggled with at the beginning. I shouldn't say struggled. It was something that we focused a lot on to make sure this was going to be successful. COVID-19, right? We can't have any presentation these days without discussing COVID-19. That did change everything, right? Remote access to data became paramount to enable many to be successful in the organization. It was a reality check for us. Pardon me, I didn't move the slide. It was a reality check for us, right? Not everyone was low risk. Not everybody was a 25-year-old person that was in the prime of their health. The reality is it's not the case. Everybody's different, and everybody's got different risk profiles. And so we had to just address that full on. And the data part helped us do that, right? Because we were able to enable many of our people who were not going to be successful sitting at home with no access and no value, and let these people with the value that they do bring to the table enable that. So we did that, right? That was one really cool thing that kind of happened out of this event. It actually also helped us with a reduction of travel, right? Which kept our exposure down, but we didn't lose any productivity, right? We had these people that, they're in the later part of their career. They got tons of experience, they got tons of knowledge, and it's them being able to see a trend of data. They can actually kind of formulate what's actually occurring from the comfort of their own home, be able to feed that up, down the channels to the people that are actually got boots on the ground and be able to solve problems. It's huge. While of course this was unwelcomed, it did prove that we were achieving digital success and digital transformation success. And there I go, I just shouted a buzzword, one of my banes of my existence. But in this case, it is something we did realize, right? And how did we realize that? Well, when this all came in and we were all going to lockdown and people weren't traveling, people were still being as productive, if not, productive differently. I'm not going to say they were more productive, they were just as productive, but they were now able to get to these things that they needed to do and see without actually having to be there. And that was huge, right? To be able to get these people back in action as quick as possible, and using the system in the way that it's designed to use, right? That single pane of glass, being able to access anything, anywhere, at any time, was really starting to be surfaced and accessed and done in a way that wasn't even thought of, right? Nobody saw this thing coming, and it was fantastic, right, to be able to see that happen. Again, while welcomed, it did validate and checkbox a bunch of things that we knew were occurring that were really hard to pin down, but now you see this happening. That experiment really came to fruition when everybody was gone and nobody was traveling. So obviously every project is not without challenges, and we were no different, right? So at the very beginning, our first challenge was just finding the right vendor, right? We evaluated a lot of different vendors, trying to figure out where we could go, what we would land on, and what would make sense. We needed a one-stop solution, right? Nobody, more than myself, I think, hates buying that product. Just realize that 6 months from now, you got to go buy the add-on, right? Wasn't going to be something that we wanted to take on. We've all been there, we've all done that, and we don't want to ever do it again. We need, again, a company with shared interest, right? Shared success. Our success was going to be Capstone success. And this was something that was very well drawn out at the very beginning. Everybody was on the same page. Everybody was very transparent about that. It wasn't something we were beating around the bush, especially when it came to financials. We all realized that this was going to be an endeavor on both sides, and coming up with that was great for us. We also wanted something that allowed us to leverage our existing investments, right? We have this huge infrastructure. We have this huge network infrastructure, VPN, networks, all this kind of amazing stuff. And we're not going to buy add-ons later, just get something that would try to work with it. We want something that was out of the box, turnkey, let me run it, let me get value out of it as soon as we can. And I don't need to reinvent the wheels every single time I want to do something. Something that was flexible. Again, that kind of goes back to the being able to grow with us. And internally as an organization, we were breaking a lot of new ground. So of course, it's going to be met with a lot of hesitation. To do that, we engaged a lot of people early, and we set a lot of expectations. We didn't go to these facilities and say, you know what, Bob, we're going to come in here and whiz bang, magic's going to happen, and you're going to get your $27,000 of ROI. No, right? We were going there saying, we got to do a setup process. You know what? We want to get on the power grid. We want to get that data flowing. We got to do all this stuff. And when all that happens, then we can start to work with you, train your guys, build displays. And once all that's happened, then you're going to start seeing your value. Those expectations were set, so those expectations could be met. And that's key, right? Let these guys know what's happening. Nobody likes surprises, and nobody likes being underperformed, right? When these expectations are set of hard work, it goes a long way. Your network and security groups, right? Involve these guys on early. We did, because those guys can make or break your project, right? Nothing worse than having these great grandiose plans and then them come back and say cybersecurity says not going to happen. Those guys do get the trump card, especially in this world. We all have dealt with hacks, hack attempts, things like that, especially if this type of data, it's sensitive, and we got to make sure that we're following everything that we could possibly do. So bringing those guys in early, making sure you're doing it right is the only way to be successful. And at the end of the day, you know, we were starting from the ground up, right? We had to educate a lot of people. So how do we do that, right? So initially we worked with Capstone to let them do the training, right? Let them start ramping up our different areas, right? Our crude areas, maybe our NGL areas, or even our nat gas areas. And then we started doing that all internally, right? So once we got that baseline knowledge there, we were able to now do it internally, and then start to tailor those trainings for our diverse asset portfolio, right? We have different needs, different resources, right? A liquid is not the same as a gas, right? A treating facility is not the same as a cryogenic facility or a dehydration facility or a shipping facility. All these things have different needs. So while we got that baseline training coming in, we were then able to take that internally and then start to apply our business knowledge to ensure that the people were getting everything that they needed. And we also had to realize that creating education also created opportunity, right? These guys, it's new to them. They don't know what they don't know. As we train people up and do these classes with these people, they're going to learn more, and they're going to get their aha moments. Their light bulbs are going to go off, and they're going to come back to us with the ideas that are going to get more value and increase our return on investment. And we're seeing that again and again and again. And a great example of that, in one of our West Texas facilities, we did some training locally. We had some webinar training, and then about 2 months after that, one of our guys said, you know what, I got an idea on how you could really help me prevent my dehydration unit mold beds from needing to be replaced as often. I'm now able to see some things that I've never even seen before. And we started building them, helping them build displays and algorithms to come up with those things. And it was very simple to do for us technically, but he was able to come to the table with that business knowledge that let us develop it for him and start to see, you know, many hundreds of thousands of dollars of hard ROI real fast by just not doing maintenance where it wasn't needed. So that's, you know, that's just an example. We have tons of those examples, and you'll get them as well. So results, right? We did all this, and of course we got results, right? So of course we did actually receive, in my opinion, achieve digital transformation, right? It's, again, not a buzzword, although I guess technically it is. Here it's not, right? Because we do see people transforming the way they're working, right? They're getting out of paper reports, right? They're going into real-time trends. They're saving all these displays in the environment. There's 4,300 displays, and that number's growing daily. These people are using it. They're transforming how they're doing their work. Conversations are changing, right? Optimization and operations really becoming something that's a lot more discussed now, especially in this economy. 2 years ago, everything didn't matter. We were full everywhere we were going. Everything was working perfectly. We did not have enough pipes in the ground to do what we needed to do. Well, obviously that's a lot shifted over the past 8 months. So optimization is becoming a real big conversation now, and having the tool set to do that and bring these people together to come up with those discussions is huge. Utilization is a topic as well. Previously it was just everything was utilized all the time, so it didn't really matter, right? That conversation was real short and real sweet. Now it's about where we utilize, where can we utilize better, and what can we utilize more, which sort of leads us into decision support, right? Decision support is something that was not necessarily on the table when we first started this, but it became more and more prevalent, especially now, as we're able to look at things that we couldn't before. So we're making better decisions. We're validating some of those decisions. You know, there's a lot of good decisions that had been made over the years that we just knew that they were good because nothing bad happened. But now we're able to actually truly validate and see how these decisions were being made and how they're impacting the, you know, the bottom line at the end of the day, because all about it comes down to being bottom line dollars. And then we were able to realize some pipe dreams, right? There were some things that just weren't possible before. When you have all these disparate systems, these other systems that were expertise systems, you had a measurement system, you had a flow management system, maybe you have a pipeline operation system, a fractionation system. Well, when you get to see all these things together into a common look, at least common data set, you're able to really start reeling the pipe dreams of, hey, I want to see a model of all of this together. I want to see how these things interact with one another. That's huge. And we actually start seeing this where there are a lot of these meetings that even myself have never been part of because I've never been in the department. I'm getting called into a lot of meetings. My people are getting called into meetings to say, man, we need you to be the fly on the wall to listen to what we're doing. Maybe there's something that we're not seeing that you can see to help us make better decisions. And we're also empowering other systems, right? We're filling in some gaps in some places where there was missing windows of data that now it's all together that other systems can start to use. We can start feed this data backwards into other systems and make those systems better. We're reducing CapEx spend, right? There's systems that we're just cutting out. Not longer needed, or ideas that, hey, we were going to build this because it wasn't available before. And now we're saying, you know what, we don't need any more. Training capabilities are there. The Excel capabilities are there. Let's empower our users with the tool set that's out of the box. And of course, automation, right? That's obviously going to be a big thing. Letting our people do stuff in a way that doesn't require them to be what I call data ferrets, where they're running around just ferreting data out of systems and trying to get it all together before they can even analyze it. A great example of this is one of our vice presidents the other day. He spent 2 hours every Wednesday sorting together these Excel files to be able to just come up with some sort of plan of attack for the next 7 days. It was a thorn in his side. He hated doing it. He sent us his Excel file that he finally results with. 2 hours later, one of my guys was able to automate it, and in the morning he comes in at 8 a.m. on that Wednesday, and it's there. It's in his inbox, and he goes right into data analyst mode rather than spend 2 hours just trying to patchwork these things together. And safety was an interesting side effect for us as a result as well. Reducing drive time, right? These guys, we have facilities that are hundreds of miles apart from one another in some cases, and these guys need to drive. Our field personnel need to go from point A to point B to look at something, whether it just be an HMI display and to see how things are going. With this, we're reducing windshield time greatly. These guys are able to, figure out where they need to go and not necessarily spend time on the road just trying to get to everywhere at once, which of course, less time on the road, less wear and tear on vehicles, and more importantly, it's going to be safer for our people overall. So benefits, right? I did talk about ROI. So we captured our ROI in 3 main categories. It was really time savings, cost avoidance, and decision support. It was really only a little over 1 year completed. I will say we've captured over $10 million of hard ROI. That's actually dollars in the bank. That's annualized dollars in the bank. That's a pretty big number to be able to come back and say, look at what we did. If we were just to put our pencils down now, you can expect to gain this every year, year after year, as long as the system is available, even in its static state. That's fantastic. Of course, that's not going to be the case. We're continuing to grow it. Every day, we're adding more and more. Time saving has been our largest contributor of ROI, just letting people do their work more effectively and efficiently. Just cutting time off tasks. I talk about that data ferreting thing. That's one example of many, many examples that we have. And just empowering our subject matter experts to get out of this grind mode into true subject matter expert mode again. Letting these guys do what they went to school for, all their experience for, instead of spending all their time fighting with Excel formulas and just trying to get something working, and I copied and pasted that, didn't work. Mixed with, we've all been there, we've all done that, we've all had to deal with those headaches. Getting these guys just get the data, what they need in the way that they want it, and let them be the experts with it, right? Because when you get these people, fed good food, good data, right, they're going to do so much better at what they do decide, right? And that's huge. Cost avoidance was another big one for us, which is bottom line is avoiding bullets, right? We're kind of Neo in the Matrix here, bending over backwards and watching these bullets zing over us. Previously, we were getting hit by some of these things, and a lot of times now we're avoiding these things. These are events like unneeded repairs, unneeded callouts, peak demand charges on power windows, right? Service interruptions, things that we can avoid now because we can see these things starting to come in more real time. We can set up alarms, we can set up notifications, we can run those reports every day or distribute information every day that lets people kind of see something that somebody else didn't see. Oh, geez, did you know that power is creeping up? Let's try to get our eyes on that. Oh, geez, look, West Texas is hitting a heat wave here. Let's get on self-generation, right? Pull ourselves off the power grid because we're going to get a $1,000 peak demand charge here per kilowatt. And being able to avoid those things saves a lot of dollars. That you dodge a lot of bullets, and those bullets are at the end of the day they cost money to the organization. If we have more money in the bank, obviously we can do a lot more cool things. Reducing cost, of course, is another thing that comes into play here. Where we're decommissioning some systems that were just redundant and not doing what we should be doing, or just don't bring the value that they should, right? We got this single pane of glass into everything, so why do we need some of these other things, right? Bottom line is just making decisions faster, right? Our guys are making better decisions faster, and it's fantastic to see it actually occur again and again and again. And you get these success stories emailed to our inboxes, and man, we get stopped in the hallways now saying, "Geez, you're the data part guys." Yeah, we are. You wouldn't believe what we did, and let me tell you my story. That's such a common occurrence now. We almost take it for granted, but it's great to see that when you hear that from your people saying, man, I used to struggle with this, and now it's become a non-event for me, and you can see what I'm doing now, right? I'm actually doing some true analysis, looking at area under the curves, and making these great decisions and stuff like that. So it's really cool to see. And what we did is, I do have a small screenshot up here. It's sort of a landing map. It lets people kind of see our operational map and jump into wherever they need to go, right? Either you're the day one data park user, you should be able to open up this display when you get in there and find where you need to go and hit where you need and kind of go down that rabbit hole and start to really understand the system. So it's a great communication tool for us, as well as great for all of our new users to be able to get in there and start getting value fast. So do's and do nots, I do like to stress, don't try. If you're going to say, I'm going to try to do something, probably you're not the guy that should be doing it. I am a huge proponent of try learning something, but at the end of the day, when you're dealing with something of this scale, this magnitude, you can't go try to fumble, right? You're not going to go into the facility and tell the plant manager you're going to try to visualize his data for him, right? You're going to go in there, you better be able to tell him that you can, and here's your action plan to do it. So again, before you start, you better educate yourself, right? If you're going to lead this charge, or you're on a team that is leading this charge, pull some books. For some reason we don't read anymore as much as we used to. But it's funny what we do hide in books. If you are an IT guy going into a compressor station, I would definitely behoove you to read a book about pipeline compression. I know it's probably going to be a dry read, but at least you're going to be able to speak what those guys are speaking, understand what they're doing, because if you don't, they're not going to respect you, especially in the oil and gas world. These guys got a lot of experience, and they don't have time to have an IT guy, if you are in the IT world, coming in to try to tell them how they should be doing their job better. Because I tell you what, they're going to show you why you're wrong, and if you don't speak their language, they're not going to want to speak to you at all. You're going to have to use the system. You're going to have to get in the weeds. You're going to have to become the expert yourself, right? Again, if you're not in there, you don't understand it. You can't have somebody walk into your office and say, man, I got stuck on a trend. Can you show me how to do this? You're going to lose a lot of confidence in your users real fast. So you better make sure you do that, right? Because that's going to keep generating that value out of the system. And make sure you have the vision and the short-term goal, right? We had our great vision, but we also needed to hit something right off the bat, right? We needed that first base play. For us, that was power optimization. We needed to have that target and say, look, we know we got these facilities. We know we're drawing power off the power grid. We know we can do self-generation of power. How can we do this better, right? That's something that's very low-hanging for us, something that we know we always needed to do, but we never had the tools or the data to do it. So this was, it was a great focus, a great thing to first put our target on. And of course, prove it first. I talked about this already. Pie in the sky is not going to work. You better get in there, get your hands dirty, your boots dirty first to figure this out, right? If you do that, those guys are going to take you up on it a lot more. And again, it's not you're going to need a team. It's not just people. For me, I'm a firm believer when you're doing something like this, at least on this scale, you do need to go outside, or else you're just going to get the same problems you've always had. No organization is without problems, without growing pains. And when you do bring in these outside people, you're going to get outside perspectives. I brought on a great guy named Corey who brought tons of power experience, right? Even though we're not a power company, but he came from the power generation world. And him being able to come in here and help us hit this power optimization goal and speak the language and kind of cross those bridges that, man, maybe not an expert on, but man, I got this Corey guy. He knows all this fantastic stuff. He came from outside, a great value add to our organization. while you're during your project, right, you're gonna have to keep this stuff going. You're gonna have to invest in training to keep it going, right? You're gonna have to keep a regular cadence of your training. That was something that we learned really early on. We were trying to do a lot of targeted training. I'm going to go to the northeast states to do a training class up there. I'm going to go do one in West Texas. I'm going to do one in Louisiana. Do one in Florida. Turned out that was a real bad idea for us, especially since people travel. Not everybody's going to be available to different schedules. So what we did is we kept a good cadence of training, right? So most of it's going to be online now, of course, with COVID. But keeping that regular cadence, people can plan around that. People can set their team objectives around that, right? If I'm going to go into a new area, we're going to light up some new facilities, get them all high resolution. Those local areas can say, you know what, we know next Tuesday is going to be our, new user training. So let's get involved. Let's get the people scheduled to do all that kind of stuff. So the way you're going to truly get transformation. And don't just go buy add-ons. One thing that's interesting to us is, when this sort of project does get out there fast, I don't care what industry you're in, it's going to get out there. And you are going to have every software sales company knocking. And there's a lot of amazing things out there. But at the end of the day, you can do a lot with a hammer and a screwdriver before you go buy all those fancy power tools, right? Those tools are great. They have needs, of course. Certain departments, especially some of your engineering departments, may have good use out of them. But know what you have, right? You're not going to even know what you don't have, especially even 1 year into the system. We're still finding out stuff that Data Park has already thought of. And that's huge for us, right? So don't need to go buy all that cool stuff. Sometimes it may, push needle a little bit quicker, or maybe let you skip a few spaces, so to speak. But I do stress, get in there, learn the tools, because when you get all that stuff, you're going to see how you can get those other tools to even be better when you do need to go down that route. Art of possible isn't for the enterprise, right? That buzzword, especially when it comes to these software vendors, it comes out all over the place. When you're going this level, when you're trying to enable hundreds and hundreds, and we're reaching into the thousands soon, users in the system every day across the entire continent in one massive system, art of the possible isn't it, right? It's a buzzword. Again, I'm trumping on buzzwords here, but you're going to need to be delivering actual items with actual value. That's the only way you're going to keep this thing going, and you're going to keep it going quickly. You can't do it without a budget, right? If you're going to think you're going to do this with an intern and a $50 Target gift card, good luck. You're going to need to invest. It's the only way you're going to get value, right? At the end of the day, you're going to get a lot more value than you have invested, but you're going to have to step up to the plate. As well, if you can't talk, don't find somebody that can. If you, you're going to have to be prepared to sell this. You're going to have to go into facilities and try to talk to some of these people off the ledge. A lot of places and a lot of organizations get systems pushed down on them, right? Not to knock on SAP, but that's kind of the big offender always in the industry, right? Here's the new SAP invoicing system. I'm not telling you why you should use it. You just need to use it because that's what we said. Accounting thinks it's best. You know what? That's not the way to approach this type of thing. If you want true adoption, you want true transformation, you're going to need to make sure that these people understand why you're doing this and what they're getting out of it, and let them have a say, right? Let them talk about it. So you're going to put that salesman hat on. You got to capture that ROI, capture it early, make it a culture of the project, culture of the team. My guys, they know when they're on the phone with or seeing someone in person or at a physical facility, and they're getting asked to, man, I want to build this system map, and here's what it needs to look like. My guys always ask, well, why are we doing this, right? Not just because it's cool. What's the value? Give me a time. Give me $1. Give me a quantifiable value. And it could be as small as 30 minutes saved per week. Great, not a problem. Right? That 30 minutes saved per week, that does add up. And you're getting all these things add up. You do get a pretty big mountain in savings, and there's just a lot that you're going to capture. So what's next for us, right? Well, we're not stopping. The current state of the world has CapEx growth down. This isn't one of those areas for us. We're seeing a big return on this. So we're continuing. We're going to grow over the next 3 years. We plan to triple our footprint at the very least, at least our high resolution facilities. And we're just going to keep going. We're going to keep building. We're going to keep bringing on more and more people to do this effort. It's a fantastic experience for us. And we're really looking forward to where it's going to go. So we're going to open up some questions here in a few seconds. Thank you for your time.
Well, hello, everyone. I am back, and there he is, the man, the myth. Hi, Tyler.
How's everyone doing?
Based on the chat, it seems like everyone is doing real well. We got some awesome questions for you. So we'll go ahead and just kind of dive into that if that's cool with you.
Yeah, get started, bud.
Excellent. So our first set of questions, there's two. It's surrounding manual data entry displays.
Yeah.
And so the first question is, do you give access to your users? Do you give access to your users to create MDE tags and MDE displays, or is it that the managed process handled by the admins? With 400
So
subs, it could be a
yeah,
big
yeah.
problem.
So we don't prevent it, but we don't advertise it a lot. Now we advertise a lot on what we've done with MDEs in certain areas. We leverage them where it makes a lot of sense. But we're not going to stop anyone from doing it. If somebody wants to go read the help file and take a 1 hour capstone webinar to learn how to do it, of course, great. I'm not going to stop someone for making their lives easier. But it is something we just don't restrict, right? It's great. If somebody wants to do it and get something out of it, they're not doing it because they're bored and just want to see something cool. And they're not going to hurt anything, right? I mean, okay, great. You created a few extra tags in our system. I don't know, it's 4,000,001 tags. It's fine, right? We're not going to put up walls to stop people from doing it.
Excellent. Well, I hope that answered Darren's question there. But we'll go ahead, and our next question is going to be, are you using park security?
Yeah, I mean, we use it to keep access to tags where people should have access to tags, especially in some of our world. There's some regulations that we got to keep eyes on. We want to make sure the right people are seeing the right data, and those who shouldn't be seeing data are blocked out. So yeah, we use it for that.
Excellent. So our next question we have is, do you have a clear separation and workflows, roles, technology are in there between SCADA and the historian?
Yeah, obviously we bring a lot of SCADA data in. We have a fantastic SCADA organization. It's probably one of the best I've ever seen. And there's so much value there. But those guys are charged with really maintaining an amazing control system, right? And real-time control. They a lot of times they get penalized and hit with, well, they become a reporting system as well. And that's not what SCADA is for, right? Regardless of the underlying technology. So yeah, we've partnered with the SCADA group to say, look, we'll take that burden, right? We're going to give real-time access to that data to those who need it, but we're not here to control, right? We're read-only for it. So there's a good delineation in what we're doing, and we're actually working as a partnership internally.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that answer. And that brings us to our next one, which is Data Park used for surveillance / optimization, while SCADA / automation is used for operations?
Yeah, exactly. That's just reiterate what I just said. Yeah. So SCADA's control, right? They're turning the valves, right? They're adding pressure, they're reducing pressure, they're running the pumps. For us, yeah, it's, what did it look like when we ran those pumps? What did it look like when those pressures changed? And they can look back and historize it, which is interesting. Our SCADA users or a control room personnel who are using our SCADA networks to control our assets use Data Park all the time now. You go into our control room, you'll see a SCADA screen on the left and a Data Park screen on the right, where they're trending and analyzing and seeing what's been happening, and then obviously doing control on the other side.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And our next question is going to be, how do you deal with managing 4,300 displays? For a little bit of context on this one, they've got two large facilities, about 10,000 displays, and they're finding the need to curate the displays and calculations to avoid multiple sources and views of truth is quite a challenge for them. So yeah, how are you managing that?
We just pretend they don't exist. No, so we kind of break it into two buckets, right? We have a kind of a published model, and then we have a user model, right? Users can build and roll whatever they want to roll, right? You talk about the source of truth. Well, great, they're all pulling from the same tag buckets, so we're getting a pretty good control on truth. And then when content matures and it gets to a state that it should be published, that's when we move it into our published world. And these are just folder structures within Parkview. And that's sort of a read-only access, right? Users can access it, but they can't write to anything. They can't change anything. They got to go through a whole process with my organization to get changes done to these things. So it's our way of keeping control on that. A lot of it's been done with training. teaching people, where they shouldn't be. It's kind of like teaching your kid, they can go in this room, but they can't go in that room. We do put up some boundaries of that, but of course you're going to have issues. You're never not going to, but it's the only way to really manage it at this scale. If we tried to put, a 10-step change control process around every single display, no displays would ever get made. We would never get value out of it, right? At the end of the day, we're in, like I mentioned, we're in 38 states trying to herd that many cats. It's just not possible, and you just need to sometimes, let the cats run, man, and they do a great job.
Excellent. That kind of takes us into our next question a little bit. But this is another two-parter kind of. Are you utilizing any other tools? So analytics, analysis, optimization engines, anything like that? And then, are you integrating that into Data Park? And then do you have any examples you might be able to share with us around that?
Yeah, Power BI, it's a pretty cool tool, right? Microsoft has really done a good job with that. So, we feed and expose that data to our business analytics group, so they can add more value to the stuff that they already had, right? So we had been living in a world where these guys are dealing with stale data. They're looking at data from yesterday or the day before or even the week before. Now they can actually tap into the Data Park layer, the SQL layer, and pull that data directly and get real access to it. So yeah, so Power BI is one. I did mention we sort of flirting with some other tool sets to get more value out of the data that Data Park is bringing together. Yeah, Power BI is probably the biggest one at this time. We don't stop people from getting data. I know the Excel add-on has been huge in our world, right? We're never going to get away from Excel. Ever, right? And giving these guys the ability to keep a tool that they already had and do an analysis, outside of Data Park View and using the Excel add-in has been really good.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. And the next question we have is, did you have a different enterprise historian before you partnered with Capstone?
Yeah, we had a few floating around. We had some Wonderware systems, some Pi systems living, in different corners of the organization. We never had a big central corporate historian, right? Data Park was our only corporate historian that we did stand up, but that was one of the attractive value propositions that they brought was they were compatible with all these other historians that we did have. I didn't need to reinvent wheels and try to lift and shift technology or rip and pull technology, right? I have a Wonderware environment in my butane world, and being able to just connect, with a couple of screws, virtual screws, so to speak here, and get that data in one spot, right, and get more value out of it was awesome. So finding something that was backwards compatible with all these other historians was a big win, and without having to buy the add-on, right? That was huge for us. I didn't want to go buy the Wonderware connector or go buy the Honeywell connector or the Delta V connector. We wanted to just go.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And for our next question, what was the most surprising group or set of users that have benefited from the new Data Park system?
Honestly, for me, it would be my measurement group. Measurement in our industry, it's old hat, right? You'll talk to our measurement people that their systems already do everything. They don't need another analytics tool, right? We have the system, and now they're actually one of our biggest users right now, where they're seeing that, oh wow, look at the cool stuff that we can do and make our lives easier. And in fact, I took a call today about 30 minutes before this presentation from one of our senior directors saying, hey, I struggle with this, and can you guys do this better? And we're like, yeah, that's just a basic algorithm for us. Let me just do a quick time average algorithm for you, and off you go. Right, which was awesome. So yeah, so them is probably one of my most eye-opening, is seeing how quickly they've adopted to it, and now they can't live without it.
It's always good when you got something they love. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. So our next question is going to be your regional operating centers. Do they mainly use Data Park or another platform, another SCADA for operations, SP changes, bringing equipment online, offline, remotely, alarm response, dispatching? So what are you doing there?
All right, so that's this goes back to our original question about SCADA versus our ops analytics group. Here is we don't control, right? Full stop, not happening. We've explored even the possibility of doing it, but we killed it really early on, and we said, you know what, it doesn't make sense. We don't want to have multiple control systems. So that's the world of SCADA, right? That's the whole reason they're around. Then they're fantastic at it. For us, it's, let's get the value out of the data. Let's analyze the data. We're not here to set points. We're not here to write anything back. It's one directional only. In fact, we put a lot of effort around ensuring one directional data access at this point, to ensure nothing could ever even possibly get written back to those controls network. They're just too sensitive. You set the wrong thing and it can go boom. And we're never going to put ourselves in that situation.
Excellent. So our next question we had come in is, what feature would you like to see the most being added to Data Park or to Capstone?
That's easy. That's a low ball. GIS, man. I mean, I would love. We have all these points, 4 million points, and if I can just do a map search, right, put in an address, because as great as a lot of these points are, they're set up by systems guys, and __02 beta is the name of the tag, and what the heck does that even mean? But I do have a Latin long on it. That would at least get me somewhere, right? I could draw a circle around a pump station and say, well, these are all the things that are in that pump station, right? We spent a lot of effort making sure the inline search in the tag browser is huge, and we add a lot of metadata in there for our end users to be able to find what they need. But if we could do it on a map, that'd be huge.
Excellent.
Alex, there's my map request, bud.
All right. So for our final question here, do you look at possibly using the data-driven world to operate some of the systems in the plant?
I don't think I'm the guy that should talk on that, but the short on it would probably be at this point, no. I mean, those things are sensitive. Some of those things you need hands-on, right? Data-driven helps you understand how to drive them. You don't just let it go. I don't think any of our technologies are there. I mean, heck, we only got sort of self-driving cars recently. You're not going to drive a frac, right? It's too complex, I think. Maybe we'll get there one day for sure. I just don't. I think you just use that data to augment and enhance how you drive those things.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much for answering all of those questions. We were able to get through everything that everybody asked. So Tyler, wonderful presentation. We got some really good feedback here in the chat that a lot of people really enjoyed the insight and really appreciated that view of yours. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate the time. Thanks for letting me speak.
All righty. So, well, again, thank you, Tyler, for joining us. What we're going to go ahead and do right now is, again, we're going to do a really quick trivia question. So, again, for the folks that might have missed my explanation of how we're going to play this game, what we'd love you to do is go ahead, keep my lovely face on your homepage or on your desktop, laptop, whatever you have. So take your phone, open up a new email. We're going to go ahead and so format that to tlamb@capstonetechnology.com. Again, that's tlamb@capstonetechnology.com. And what we're looking for is the answer in the subject line. So whoever's fastest, that's the winner. It's a really simple game. I'm going to give everyone about 10 seconds here to hopefully fab up that email to give you a little bit of a time advantage here. And so I will be presenting the question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Which European capital was built across 14 islands? So go ahead and best of luck. Go ahead and get that in there. Again, which European capital was built across 14 islands? So, so that kind of brings us to our next presentation here. So I'll be looking forward to seeing everybody. Again, real quick, back to that homepage, find that next session that's starting at 10:50, and we'll see you there in a second. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.